As many of the residents know, the town of Hempstead earlier this year was allotted approximately $133 million in CARES Act funding. This funding was based on the population of the town of Hempstead, and it was meant for expenses for the safety and COVID-related expenses facing the area. With that, the town board and I have really reached out and focused on what's important. And right now, during what is transpiring across this country, this is the most important thing we could be doing right now. Getting $2 million of care funding to Northwell to allow them to create testing locations through the town of Hempstead is what we should be doing. It is scary. We have gone through the tough times here in the town of Hempstead in Nassau County. You know what? Late March, April, those are scary times where the only sounds you would hear on the roads were the ambulances taking residents to the various hospitals. And the only way we are going to prevent a second wave is with testing. And to team up with Northwell and Michael and his entire team, this collaboration we are entering into, you know what? It is exactly what is needed. This collaboration is going to save lives. This collaboration will show residents that when you focus and use the funds for what they're intended for, the public safety, we can succeed.
What we have been doing in other locations across the region is working with local communities and doing extensive amount of testing. We have been in 60 churches. We have tested over 40,000 people across the region out in the lower income communities, because these were the communities that were the hardest hit. COVID, demonstrated that it had a disproportionate effect on certain communities, the town of Hempstead being one. And so what we will be doing here under the dynamic leadership that we have of Dr. Debbie Salas-Lopez over here and Reverend Barbara Felker, who are being the leads and out here in the communities with us, we will be focusing in on, I think, 13 locations, working to make sure that we provide the education and the testing.
Hempstead itself has over 2,300 residents who have tested positive for the virus, including myself. So I know it's important that we test and then everyone gets a test, and hopefully you're going to be able to get those who have stayed away to come. The churches are involved, so that certainly should be a wonderful tribute to them when they start talking to their residents and having them come in.
Everybody's afraid that they might have this, and they might be afraid to do the testing because they don't want to know. But you got to know, for your family's sake, for your friend's sake. When you take off that mask, you may be causing somebody else to get this disease. So get, these 13 locations, we may expand it because it might be that successful if we can get more money to put into it. But here's what we got to do. We got to make sure that you know that you can be tested. Early detection saves lives. I'm so glad we're doing this. It's so important.
My father was, a pillar in the community, and he had the highest respect for Michael Dowling, for all that he's done for healthcare in this region, and his generosity. So thank you again, everybody who worked for it. Thank you, the staff at Northwell, for the great job that you do in administering to all people. We have a very diverse community, and everybody gets superior health care from Northwell. So thank you again.
And like Mr. Dowling mentioned, I hope today is the beginning of a partnership here in the town of Hempstead for a long time to come. I think that there's a lot of work ahead of us, but this is a great start, and I look forward to working with the town board and Mr. Dowling and those at Northwell to see not only what we could do to expand our testing, but to assist those on the front lines, our first responders, our firefighters, our police officers.
Testing, testing, testing. Henry Schein is one of the #1 employees in the state of New York. Henry Schein came out with a home testing kit that is yet to be put on the market. We were one of the first ones in the town of Hempstead to inquire. I thank Northwell and Mr. Dowling for getting this procedure out. Very important that we test those who need to get back to work to make Long Island the community that it is.
I just want to say once again, under Don's leadership, we applied for CARES money, and this is CARES money going to good use to help our residents. I want to thank Northwell for partnering with the town of Hempstead to greatly expand testing to help our residents. Under Don's leadership, working with Michael Dowling. This is going to go a long way to help our residents. I just want to thank again our first responders, our medical personnel on the front lines for the great work they've done throughout this pandemic.
I also want to point out we wouldn't be here without thanking Senator Schumer and our congressional delegation. Senator Schumer has led the way in fighting for funds for Long Island, particularly the town of Hempstead. Senator's office does a phenomenal job. We're in contact with them daily to keep them informed of everything we're doing here. And this is what the CARES funding is meant for, ladies and gentlemen. It's to help people and save lives.